Well, good afternoon, everybody. Hello and welcome. My name is Andrew, and this is our weekly Idea Academy podcast live stream. And I hope everybody's doing really well. First of all, Happy New Year. I hope that everybody is enjoying a great New Year. I hope you had a great holiday season. If you're out there, I know that some of you are lurking, some of you are at work, but if you're out there and something went great this holiday, or you've got a new lesson that you've learned, or something like that, by all means, put it in chat. We would love to hear it. I'm going to talk to you a little bit about today, and I don't know, maybe this one's a little shorter episode today. We'll see how it goes. But I am going to talk to you. The thing that was really on my mind today when I came to the podcast was I wanted to talk about intentions. We talk a lot about intentions in the personal growth space, but do you know what an intention is? And more importantly, do you know how good intentions can actually go bad? There's an old saying that says the road to hell is paved with good intentions. And I on the one hand, I've always kind of hated that statement because it's extremely kind of negative, kind of pessimistic in my mind. It seems like the whoever penned that statement, and I don't remember who it was, it's centuries old, but whoever penned that statement really thought that, oh, you know what? People who focus on their intentions don't actually focus on actions. That's what that seems to imply. And I want to be very, very clear with you about the fact that both intentions and actions are needed to create real and lasting positive change in your life. There's no question about that. You cannot just think about what you're going to do, build the right mindset, and then not do anything about it and just sit on it for the rest of your life. That's not going to get you anywhere. But at the same time, if all you're doing is action, if all you're doing is the day to day to day to day to day, and you're never really stopping to examine that mindset and the intentional place that your thought process comes from, then what you're going to find is over time, your actions will be meaningless. You're going to find that you're solving the wrong problems and not realizing that you've done so until after you've already solved them. You're going to realize that you're on a track that's leading you in circles rather than leading you towards the best version of yourself, which is what I want for you. I exist to introduce people to the best version of themselves. And that's a little bit of what we're going to talk about today. So, intention and action are very important. But today, I want to talk about when you can have too much of a good thing. Have you ever had too much of a good thing? Have you ever eaten too much of something that was really, really good? I think a couple of weeks ago, it was maybe a Sunday ago, we were at my sister's house and she had made this fudge. It was this Oreo fudge and she had it out because, it was holiday time. And so she had all of the goodies and all of the delicious stuff out. And she had this Oreo fudge out, and everybody said you got to taste it. And so I picked it up and I tasted it. And the second that I put this in my mouth, I knew that I had to not eat any more of it because it was so good that I knew that if I kept eating it, I was just going to make myself sick. Style, hello, every dang day, eating too much KFC today. Well, you know what? Somebody has to eat the KFC style. Welcome in. It's so good to see you, and happy New Year. I've missed you, my friend. I hope your holidays were great, and Aliman, of course, as well. Happy New Year, my friend. Great to see you on this fine Thursday. It's great to be seen, and especially great to be seen by you guys. I missed you. All the holiday stuff. It gets well, and that's kind of part of what we're talking about, right? Today is that you can overdo even the holidays, right? I mean, let alone the KFC, which is amazing. Don't get me wrong, but you can overdo the holidays. How did your holiday season go, my friends? Did you enjoy the time? Did you get some time to yourselves? Did you get to relax at all? I'm hoping that great things for you and great things for you coming into the new year as well. But I stopped to think about that last part, right? About how you can get too much of anything, even too much of the holiday season. And uh, on a lighthearted tone, yesterday was the Christmas celebration, quote unquote Christmas, because was after Christmas, but the Christmas celebration at my mom and dad's house. And it was great. There are 16 of us, me and my family, and both of my younger sisters and their families, and my mom and dad. And we all got together at my mom and dad's house, and we spent the whole day together. But when I say the whole day together, I mean the whole day. We were at mom and dad's house for 14 hours yesterday. 14 hours. We left at about 11:30, a little after 11:30 p.m. And that was too much. It was too much. By the time we left, I was tired. Everybody was getting a little bit grumpy. It was, we were kind of really forcing it to get those last few things that were really important traditions in. And it was a good thing, but it was, in a way, it was too much of a good thing, because if the intention is to be able to enjoy a great day with your family and really relax into it and really celebrate each other, but if you have too much of that, if you don't take the right path through it, it can actually undo itself. In fact, sometimes your good intentions not only don't get you the results they want, they can backfire, right? And we were lucky. Nobody got super cranky yesterday or fought or anything like that. But in a circumstance like that, where people could get overloaded, they could get too tired. i- If the intention was, we want everybody to have a good time, we want everybody to celebrate, we want everybody to be together as a family, that could very well backfire by having too much of a good thing. So today I'm going to talk to you about a few ways to make sure that your intentions do not lead you into a situation where you have too much of a good thing. Let's see. Let me catch up with chat. Happy New Year to you too. And absolutely, too much of a good thing could be terrible. We all appreciate when Christmas is over to a degree. Yeah, it's funny. I'm usually not that way. Usually, I in the past, I've really kind of Christmas is over, and I look back wistfully, and I'm like, where did the time go? Even to this year, to some degree, we were going into the actual Christmas day, the celebration with my family here, and I thought, man, I feel like I just haven't slowed down enough. It kind of passed me by this year, and usually I come out of it with that feeling, but this year, coming out of it, I feel like we did so much, we packed so much in that, it is okay to take a little bit of a step back and to breathe a little bit and to get ready to move into the new year. By the way, just a real quick plug. If you are seeing this right now, the New Year's challenge is still open. It will be open until tomorrow. Tomorrow is Friday. And so the New Year's challenge, it's a 30-day New Year challenge. If you haven't heard about it, it's all over my socials, but the 30-day New Year challenge is just something that I developed. It's free, it's fun, and it's 30 days of helping you build a framework for success in 2020, 2020, 2025. And as a spoiler alert, it starts by you focusing on just one thing. Because I was talking to my mom yesterday at this Christmas marathon that we went to, and was talking to her, and I was like, got to make some changes in the new year. And she said, yeah, but I just have so many things that I want to work on in the new year. I have so many things, and that right there, I could tell that's where people get overwhelmed. So let me start out by saying, if you're coming into the new year and you want to change a lot of things, that's great. It's amazing to have things that you want to change, to know what they are. That's so good. Let me tell you this: don't do them all at once. Don't do them all at once. And this is what I told my mom. I said, Mom, focus on one thing for 30 days. Focus on creating one system, one pattern of habits. Focus on one thing. Because if you get that one thing, if you build a system, if you get a win on that one thing, then what it's going to do is it's going to convince you that I can win at the next thing. And it's going to convince you that I can do more and that I can grow and that I can develop. So, one thing at a time. One of the reasons people get into overthink and overwhelm is that they try and go too wide and they don't go deep enough. One thing. So that's what the New Year's challenge is about. It's on all the socials. There's a link there in chat. If you want to check that out, by all means, go and do that. It is free. It is 100% free. So go sign up today if you would like to. But let's talk about intentions. Um, I think that there are three things that you need to work around intentions in order to make them good, not just good intentions, but actual positive change making intentions instead of things that drag you the other direction or instead of things that can lead you to too much of a good thing. And I'm going to give you those three today. But first, I want to talk to you a little bit about what an intention is because I'm aware that not everybody is. I've been on my own personal development journey for a few years now, but not everybody is there. In fact, I like to think of this as an on-ramp for people who have really not never thought about their own personal growth before. And so I want to talk first a little bit about what intentions are. Style, is it bad not to want to change anything? Um, I'm gonna say no, it's not bad to not to want to change anything. But I think that there's always room for growth in some way, right? And growth generally means change. So it doesn't mean you like, "Oh, I'm gonna change a habit, like I'm gonna stop, you know, an extreme one would be I'm gonna quit smoking this year, right? That's one of the big New Year's resolutions that people make. It doesn't have to be about that, right? But it could be about, I just like to be a little bit, maybe I'd like to be a little bit kinder this year, or maybe I'd like to be a little bit more generous this year. One of the things that we're doing in my family is we're really intentional about generosity. That's something that's really important to us. It's a core value that we have. And so those of you who have attended my streams for a while, you know that in the past, 30% of all of the proceeds that come into the streams of all of the subscriptions and the advertising revenue and all that, 30% of everything that came in, we would send back out to charities of various different types. And we move around to different things, to different causes that are important to people in the community. And we made a commitment at the end of this year that we were going to move from 30% of all of the income that comes in going to those things to 40%. And so 30% to 40% of basically all of our income, um, we're now trying to give back out to charities. And so, or to causes that we support. And so that's extending beyond just, and I'm not saying this to like say, hey, look at us, right? Hey, Rob, what's going on? Welcome. I'm glad you're here to learn. I want to use it as a point of illustration, um, for this idea of it's okay not to want to change, but also to want to grow, right? And you may not be at that growth inflection point yet. Not everybody gets there at the same time. I didn't get there, until I was in my 40s. And so a lot of you have a lot of time before you hit that, maybe you hit that growth inflection point. For some people, it comes much earlier. I wish for me it had come earlier because I would have loved to. I would have loved to have gotten some of this growth and development process done earlier in my life, but I didn't. And so everybody comes to it at a different time. But it is about looking for the places where you want to grow. So maybe it's not about change. Maybe it's just about wanting to get better at something that you do, something that's of value for you. So in my case, generosity. Hey, 30% is not enough. We want to go to 40%. We want to get to that 50%. I've always said, my income goal is to make $1 million a year so that I can give 500,000 away, right? Not to say that I would go out and buy like, sports cars and yachts with the other 500,000. A lot of that also would go into the good work as well, but my goal has always been I want to make $1 million a year, not because I want to, say, hey, I'm a millionaire, but so that I can give $500,000 a year away because I believe that we could do some good with that kind of money. So it's not necessarily about change. Sometimes it's about growth, and growth is a different kind of change. I need to grow more than I know that much. Yeah, exactly. I think everybody has kind of an innate sense that they need to grow. Um, and that's good. It it looks different with different people. Some people, it's just this complete discontent with where you are. That's kind of how it was with me. It was this, I don't know, 5 or 6 years ago, I woke up and I was in a job that paid pretty well. I was managing at a bank and I was helping people out and I was doing things, but I woke up and I realized that I just wasn't happy. And life's not all about being happy. I don't think that happiness is a good outcome to shoot for. It's not a good goal. I think that happiness is a great byproduct of doing what's important in your life. And I think the reason that I wasn't happy is because I realized that what I was doing was not what I was meant to do. And so I made some changes, and that's how I get from there to here, right? So some people it looks like that, a discontent. With other people, it just looks like, gosh, I feel like I'm at the top right now. I wonder if there's more to go, right? Where's the next ceiling? Where's the next hurdle? So I don't know what it is with you. Maybe it's neither of those things. Maybe it's completely different the way it manifests in you. But one way or the other, I think we all have a need and a desire to grow in ways. So let's talk about how to do that with intention and with building intention in the right way. So let's start with what is an intention, right? What is an intention? So when I say an intention to you, what does it mean to you? I'll tell you what it is to me. An intention is what I would call a guiding purpose, right? It is the why behind what you're doing. And if you've seen Simon Sinek's big, his famous talk, Start with Why, or if you've read his book, Start with Why, you know that the why is the heart of what you're doing. It's not just a goal, it's the motivation and direction that drives your actions. So it's all about why you do what you do. That's your intention, right? So, for example, let's take if you want to improve your health, right? Let's say that you are setting goals for the new year and you want to get your health better, but your intention isn't just to improve your health. That's not that most people don't want to improve their health just for its own sake. They want to do it for some reason. I was sitting there with my brother-in-law last night. I was talking a little bit about my fitness journey, which is a whole other thing that I'll talk about probably later at some point, but my fitness journey over the last couple of years. And he let me know, we were talking about getting back and working out. And I've been pretty steady at the gym for about 2 years now. And I'm really starting to see the results. And he said, it's not about how I look. I want to be healthy because I want to feel better. Right. So his intention is not just to work out. His intention is he wants to feel better, or you know, or maybe it's for you. It would be, I want to have more energy so that I can be more present with my family, right? So there's always a why. That's the intention, and there's not sure if last message was too long to display. Oh, I'm sorry, Holly, man. I don't know what it is with Twitch chat all of a sudden truncating long posts. It's like it won't even put them up at all. But yes, I will absolutely check that out in Discord. Sorry about that, my friend. I don't know what the deal is with Twitch chat these days. Let's see here. Let's take a look. Relate this subject. Okay, here we go. I relate this subject to streaming. As you know, we started a few months ago and we really enjoy it. However, we don't really consider ourselves entertaining enough. I would challenge that. I think you're very entertaining, but neither here nor there. So, if anything, we are concerned about doing too much of a thing. I'm negating the word good based on our opinions. Stop it. Because I think people would get bored very quickly. And I hate the idea of forcing streaming on people feeling obliged to watch. Maybe I'm right and it would be too much. Maybe we lack confidence in our abilities, but it is something that stops us doing more. Well, I think that's a really good place to start, maybe, right? Is what is your intention for streaming? And I've talked to I've been working in coaching situations with streamers for a couple of years, and I'm not immune to this. We all know that I'm not immune to this too, right? There are moments where it's like, man, this whole streaming thing it's too hard, it's too much work. I feel like I'm not really doing what I want to do. I feel like I'm not entertaining. Nobody really wants to watch. People are just showing up because they feel like they have to. And so it all goes back to intention. That's kind of where it starts, right? This idea of, well, why? Why do we do what we do? And maybe that is where you start is, well, why? But why do we want to do what we do? Because for some people, some of the streamers that I've worked with, their why, hey, Kat, how are you doing? Welcome in. For some streamers that I've worked with, Their why is, I just want to hang out with people while I'm playing games. Like there's a community of cool people out there, and so I go live, and when they show up, it's awesome. And when they don't show up, that's fine too, because it's really about, I'm just playing some games to have some fun. You're getting sick again? Good grief, cat. Stop doing it. So if your intention is to have fun, then I would argue that you're not really forcing that on anybody, right? You are encouraging people to come have fun with you, and you're providing a space for them to do that. And if they come, that's great. If they don't come, that's also great, right? That's okay. Because for you, it's about hanging out with the people, and that's a part of my intention too. And that's a part of the intention of a lot of the streamers that I've worked with. Some of the other streamers, right, they're optimizing for money, which is, again, there's nothing wrong with that. In the streaming space, it's a business for some people, and that's totally fine. There's nothing wrong with that. So some people are all about, hey, I need to make a little bit more money, or I need a side hustle, or I need to make some, I need to make some extra money doing something that I enjoy doing. And so that becomes their intention, right? For me, I've spoken openly and candidly about this. My intention when I started streaming was really about trying to build a community. And it was really about trying to get a group of people. Um, Initially, the way that I stated it was, I want to build a community of people who feels like they know me because of the relationship we have on screen, but really gets to know each other. And the way that kind of evolved over time was, I wanted to have a community of people that was doing their lives together, right? They were laughing together, they were crying together, they were supporting each other, right? So I wanted to build this supportive community. That was my intention, but my intention doesn't have to be anybody else's intention. And so I would say, I guess, Element, to take it all the way back to one, the first place to start is, get specific with why you want to stream, right? Why do you want to do what you do? Because it's only when we get there, it's only when we get to that point of clarity, and I'm going to go in deeper on this in a second, because this is actually my first point, where we can start to release ourselves from some of the worry about the way other people interact with our intentions, right? So let's pause there for a moment. Let's go back to what the intention is. There's some science behind intentions. There was a study that I read in the British Journal of Health Psychology. I was just looking it up over the weekend here, and it shows that 91% of people who have specific implementation intentions, in other words, 91% of people who decide, I want to do a thing, I know why I want to do it. 91% of those people actually follow through with those specific implementation intentions. And that's not to say everybody succeeds at everything they do, but at least follow through. And follow through is the first step to success. So there's good science behind saying, well, let's figure out what our intentions are, and let's get real specific about them. The other contrast here is that intentions are not goals. Okay, goals are outcomes. So goals are, if I go back to my fitness journey, when I first started, I go back to 2021, and I stepped on the scale, and I weighed more than I had ever weighed before, and I looked in the mirror, and maybe sometime I'll show you the picture, but I didn't look good. I didn't look healthy. I didn't look like myself at all. And so I set a goal. I'm gonna lose this amount of weight. Hey Ben, what's up? Welcome in. It's Ben Torius, the internet's best beer streamer. How you doing, man? How is Canada this time of year? How is your Canadian New Year? Um, so I said I want to lose a certain amount of weight, and I lost the weight, and then guess what? I gained it all back. Right? Has this happened to you? Have you ever gone, yeah, I'm going to lose X amount of pounds, and then you lose it all, and then the next thing you know, you've gained it all back? And the reason that I gained the weight back, I came to realize later, is because I set a goal, but I didn't set an intention. I didn't really figure out why I wanted to do that. I just said, well, I want to lose X number of pounds, right? So intentions are deeper than goals. They're about processes that drive your outcomes. Can't complain. Workday is almost over. Let's go. It's cold outside in Canada. Yeah, it's cold here in the US. Well, at least the neck of the woods that I'm in as well. I think the key thing that some people miss is that they try to be altruistic about their intentions to look good in front of others rather than being honest with themselves to achieve their goals. That's true. That's 100% true. And the other thing about it is style that sometimes people lose track of their intentions. So, like, you could start out with one set of intentions and then you get in the middle of things and you realize that you've lost sight of that. And when you lose sight of that, that's a moment where things can clash a little bit. So, the question that I wanted to ask you guys was, think about a goal. Did you set a goal for 2025? I hope you didn't set a New Year resolution. I hate New Year's resolutions. I am the anti resolution man. And the reason for that is because resolutions are goals and they're usually very surface goals. And as a result, not too many people follow through on them. But I want to think about if you set a goal for 2025 of any kind, resolution, whatever else, then I want you to really ask yourself, what's the deeper intention behind that goal? Why is that thing important to you? Right? That's when you start to get to the intention. So let's talk about the three ways that I think your intentions can lead you to too much of a good thing. Right. The first one is this. I think that you can lack clarity with your intention. I think a lot of people lack clarity around their intentions. This is the idea of what good looks like, right? Because without clarity, and clarity is knowing, really being able to define it down, being real specific about what that intention, what that why is. Because if you don't have that, what you do is you risk overloading yourself or losing focus. I just talked about that, right? Or just feeling stuck. And a lot of times when I feel stuck, I go back and I think, okay, well, but what is my why? Why am I doing what I'm doing in the first, like, why did I start out doing this in the first place? And if we go back to the streaming thing, right? There have been a number of times where I've hit a plateau in viewership or in followership or in any of those metrics that come up. And because we're reward driven creatures and because the ecosystem around live streaming is kind of set up to feed us these things and to make us feel really good. We get that good feeling when those numbers go up. When I hit a plateau and I start to go into a place where I feel like, oh, I'm no good, nobody wants to watch, nobody, this is not entertaining. When I start to go to those things, that's when I need to revisit that why. And it's happened a couple of times over the last couple of years, actually, where I had to go back and say, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. Why are you really doing what you're doing? Because anybody can stream, anybody can live stream. You know what is it? But why did you do it? Why are you doing it? Why are you starting with what you're doing? So when I feel stuck, I always go back to clarity. What is it that I intend to do when I go live? I have a little piece of paper up here, right next to the camera, and I stole this from Erwin McManus, but um, it's right next to there, so that every time I go live, I have to look at it, and it just has two words. It says, "This matters," because I want to remind myself that every time I go live, it matters. And the the kind of the impetus for this was there was a few years back, and I had some people who were showing up in chat, and from the way that they were talking and the things that they were saying, I could tell that they just didn't have much of a community outside of of this space. And I could tell that when they were here and they were recognized and people knew them, people talked with them, that it was meaningful to them. It made them feel like they had value. And so that was the day that I put that up. This matters. Because I never want to forget that every single time, we hit that live button, it matters. It could make the difference to somebody about the way they feel about themselves on this day. So that's where you got to go. That is very true. Exactly. Thank you. So here's the framework that I'll build out for you. And by the way, if you want the episode guides, they're all available to you. If you go to my website, ideatrainingacademy.com, you can pop in your email address. There's a little form there. It says get all the free tools from the podcast or something like that. If you pop your email address in there, I'll just send you once a week. I send out a newsletter, and the newsletter just has a link to the show guide, and then any kind of resources that I've created, or maybe an article that I found that was interesting. And usually I put a little tip in there or something like that, little motivational thing. So by all means, if that's something that would be valuable to you, go on over to ideatrainingacademy.com and just pop your email address in the form, and I'll be glad to get that out to you completely free. Doesn't cost you anything. I'm not going to blow up your inbox. You can always unsubscribe. It's one of those. It's a low risk proposition. But I want to give you this framework for creating clarity around your intentions. And the first thing that I would want to give you is start with the end in mind. So the first thing you want to do is whenever you're setting an intention for yourself around a goal, around something that you want to achieve, start by asking yourself, what does success look like? And not just what does success look like, but at the end of this, what do I look like? When I'm in a coaching situation with people, one of the first questions that I always ask in the first coaching appointment with somebody is, let's say it's a year from now and you have had every resource you need, all the coaching you need, all the motivation you need, everything that you need to succeed. What does your life look like in a year under those terms? Because you have to begin with the end in mind. What does success look like? Don't try and go 5 or 10 years down the road. It's really hard to hold that in your mind 5 or 10 years down the road. But if you can say in a year, and this is why it's great to do this at the beginning of the year, in a year, if I have all the resources that I need, what does success look like to me? And then I often feel some grief for canceling a broadcast just based on that sole fact. Yeah, that's exactly it. And that's one of the things that I've struggled with as well is, it was really hard for me to cancel shows over the course of the last few years because of exactly that. I knew that there were people that was going to be meaningful. I knew that there were some people who maybe because of the hours they worked or the lifestyle they lived or whatever else it was, that might have been the only touch point that they had for that week. But I also had to go back at some points and look at myself and say, okay, the intention is to build a meaningful community for people, but I also have to remember that my life as a whole is going to energize that community or it's going to suck the energy out of the community. And so there were certain cases where, if I got a family thing, if I'm going away on a vacation with the family, or my daughter's got something, or my son's got, one of the kids has got something, or I need to go do something for my mom or my dad. That's one of those things where I had to take a pause and say, okay, if the greater intention is to fuel the community with my values, right, which are around caring for the people around you, then I got to make sure I'm living out those values in real time, right? So I totally hear what you're saying. Um, Once you've got that end in mind, though, once you've said, okay, what does success look like? Then there's this method that I use, and I don't remember where I came across this. I would love to credit whoever. This is an old thing. I'd love to credit somebody with it, but it is what's called the 5 whys method. And so basically, what you're going to do is you're going to take your core, you're going to take your core intention, and you're going to ask yourself why 5 times, right? 5 times. So the one that I wrote out here was I want to exercise more, right? Because that's a goal that everybody has, that a lot of people have. Not everybody, but it's a goal that a lot of people have. And so the goal is I want to exercise more. And so, you could ask yourself why. Well, why do you want to exercise more? Well, I want to lose weight. Okay, but why? Why do you want to lose weight? Um, go to my brother-in-law, right? I want to lose weight because I want to feel healthier. Well, why do you want to feel healthier? Well, because in his case, it was like I bend over to pick something up and, my back hurts. Like it's hard for me to get back up. For me, it was, I feel like I'm walking through a fog, right? I'm tired. I'm sluggish. Just feel like I feel like crap all the time. So that's why I want to feel healthier. Well, why? Why have you been, why, but why, right? Why do you not want to feel tired and sluggish? Well, because I want to have more energy. I want to have more energy to be present with my family, to be present with my people, with with my community here. Um, well, but why? Why do you want to have more energy? Because, I want to be active. I want to be active in people's lives. I want to be present and active in people's lives. And so the intention after the 5 whys is, well, I want to exercise. I want to exercise so that I can have more energy to spend quality time with the people who matter, right? So that I can channel that energy into the people in my life who matter. So the 5 whys is a really great place to go. So where I'll give you a little thing. And again, if you're watching the replay of this, if by the way, if you're catching this on my YouTube channel, I would love to have you. I would love to have you subscribe to the channel. It does not cost you anything, but for me, it actually helps me grow so that I can get some of this information out to other people. Listen, I want to remind you that I don't think too I don't try to think too highly of myself, right? I'm very confident in the fact that I know some things that are going to help some people out, but I also don't want to pretend that, you know, this is the brand newest thought, and I'm always going to credit other people when I'm letting you know where I get the thought from. But the thing that I want to do is I want to spread this as far as it can go because I believe that there are millions of people in the world, billions of people in the world that just want to get to the next step. And a lot of them don't know how. And they're looking at other people. They're looking at the Mel Robbins and the Erwin McManuses and the Brandon Burchards of the world. They're looking at those people and they're going, yeah, that's fine. But I live in the real world, right? I talk about the myth of the real world. And I just want to let you guys know I come from the real world. Like, I come from nothing, 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 and I'm not rich, like, I don't live in a giant house, I don't have fancy cars, I don't have a plane, yet, right? Maybe some of that will come someday, but I live in the real world that you live in. My life is good. I am happy. I'm doing good and important things, and I'm growing every single day, and I wanna give you access to that same thing that gives me joy, right? So that's a part of my intention, but I want you to think about the goal that you're working on. And I want you to go through the 5 whys, right? And I want you to go through the 5 whys and really try and drill down on what that intention, what that core intention is. And then if you're watching the replay of this, please by all means, I'd love to hear, drop just a one sentence definition of success for that goal in chat. What does success look like? What does the end of that look like when you've reached that thing? So the first thing is clarity. You got to get clarity around your goal. You can do that through the 5 whys. You can do it by funneling down. You can do it by chiseling down. But the second thing that I think you need is explicitness, right? I don't really like that word, but I couldn't think of a better one. If you can, please, by all means, drop it in chat. But the idea is around specificity, right? Making those intentions specific but then, like, not just specific, but also actionable, right? Because and also communicated. That's the other part of explicitness, right? Is that it's got to be said out loud. So if I go back to, and again, yesterday was a great day. I'm not knocking the Christmas day, but if I go back to it yesterday, right? One of the things that causes a little bit of internal tension when we get into those situations is we haven't really talked out what the intention for that day is. Like, what do we really want to focus on that day? And for some people, it may be like, well, we don't want to talk about those things. We just want to enjoy things as they come. But have you ever been to that family gathering or maybe that business meeting and you've been there and you're just not really sure what the intended outcome is supposed to be, and that causes some internal tension. And so when I talk about explicitness or specificity, it's about saying we're going to say what the intention is. Hey, we want today to be a great day for the kids, right? Or we want to make sure that today we create a memory that's going to last, right? Specificity. And then moving that through into action, right? So specificity really helps you turn that vision into a plan. If you don't have this, if you don't get really narrowed down about it, and if you don't say it out loud, then you risk confusion and inconsistent follow through. And the other part is if you need participation from other people, those other people don't know how to participate if you don't specify that. right? So here's how I would recommend if I was going to give you some things for how to be explicit. The first thing is, get clarity on your intention. The second thing is express your intention. Why are you doing what you're doing? What is the purpose? What is the core purpose of it? And then also, right, turn those abstract goals into concrete actions, right? So, the little formula for this would be action plus context plus frequency, right? So, the example that I wrote down here is, I'm gonna plan my day, right? So, I one of the things that I'm doing in this new year is I'm gonna make sure that I plan my day, and I'm gonna plan my day every day the night before. So, I don't want to wake up in the morning and plan my day out and maybe already be in the middle of the day and be planning it out. I'm going to plan my day the night before, right? Because I want to be on top of it. So, action is plan my day. The context is, you know, how and when you're going to do that. So, for me, right, the context is the night before. So, the night before, I'm going to plan my day and then give frequency too. And this is, not everybody loves this. Some people like to be a little bit more ethereal about this, but it really does help you if you can narrow it down. So, here's the way it is for me. Every night, I'll spend 25 minutes planning my next day before I go to bed. So every night before I go to bed, I'm going to spend 25 minutes planning my next day. Right? So that's taking the goal of being set up for the day for success and moving it through into concrete actions, context, and frequency. And then you want to say, well, what does success look like there, right? So for me, it would be I wake up in the morning and I know what's important. I know what I'm going to do, what's important that day. And that's the other thing is you have to it's important here when you're being explicit, when you're being out loud, when you're being actionable about your intentions, you also want to make sure this is the point where you're anchoring them to your values. So I could do a whole episode on values and I probably will at some point, but you want to make sure that the actions that you're setting up align with what really matters to you, right? What really matters to you. So in this case, one of the values that I have, one of the values for me is around being reliable. I want to be reliable, right? That's a value that I have. Being someone that is useful, that is trustworthy. That's the value. And so I want to make sure that my actions are in line with that value. So again, if you're watching the replay, if you're out there in chat, just give me one specific action that you can commit to for a goal starting today. So what's one thing where you can take specific action, saying it out loud, using that formula, that action context frequency formula. Again, this will all be in the show guide that you can get for free at ideatrainingacademy.com. But put that down, write it down. There's a lot of science about writing things down that goes out there. I know some people hate it. They're like, I don't want a journal, I don't want a planner, I don't want to write things down. I just want to go through life. But if you really do want to make a change, if you really do want to see some growth, um, then then honestly, there's a lot of science to just writing it down. And not it doesn't work as well in your phone. That's the interesting thing. Putting it in your phone, it's better than nothing, right? Or typing it into your computer. But those types of actions don't really give you the same mental connection to those things as writing it down. So write that down if you can. Um, and then that's going to lead me to my third point, which is the third reason that I think we can get from good intentions to too much of a good thing, and that is commitment, right? It's commitment, or what in the idea framework I call execution. And commitment is all about staying true to that intention, right? Because sometimes we have an intention. Hey, we want to make a great day for the kids. We want to create a great memory for everybody to share. But you get midway through that and you realize, oh, I've gone a whole different way, right? I want to stream because I want to create a community of people who cares about each other. But then I get midway into it and I realize that I'm streaming to try and increase my numbers, right? Or I'm streaming to try and get more followers, right? And that's where you got to check in with yourself because persistence is so key. Angela Duckworth's book Grit, I talk about it all the time. but she studied for years and years and years and years, studied the most successful people across multiple fields. And the one thing that they all had in common across the board was persistence, the ability to persist. And you've got to build that kind of persistence in your life. You've got to build that ability to keep going when things get hard. So how do you do that? I've talked a lot about this, but I'm going to give you three things that I wrote down specifically for today. Just three ways to strengthen your commitment to your intentions. The first one is pre-decide. So pre-decide your responses. You know, when you go into a new activity or a new challenge, really want to anticipate, what might potentially come up along the way. Not to say what's the worst that could possibly happen, but to say, if challenges arrive, how am I going to handle these things, or what is my response going to be to adversity? Pre-deciding those things, really, really important. The second one, and again, this a lot of this goes back to what I talked about last week on the holiday harmony episode, but creating accountability. Accountability is the A in the idea framework. It's so important. I think that if you really want to stick to something, I think you got to share your intention with somebody else, and or at least like say it out loud, right? So an example, I've got a couple examples of this from my life. I've been trying to, if you've been following my social media lately, I've been trying to talk about my book a lot. I wrote a book a little over a year ago that was called It's called Be Great. I have not published it yet, but I'm trying to talk about it a lot in the public eye because I want people to keep on me about where is that book, right? I want to create that sense of accountability. Now, on the other side, right, there's this inherent accountability that comes from just doing things with people. So, every morning, my wife and I, we get up and we go to the gym. It's 5:30 a.m. We get up, we go to the gym. Every morning, we get up, we go to the gym. I can't tell you how much easier that is to do just because my wife is there with me. Just because she's there with me. There's an inherent accountability that happens when you do things with other people. So if you're having a hard time staying committed, I suggest you get plugged into a network of people, right? When I'm having a hard time staying committed to my intentions, that's when I need to plug. The worst thing to do, and people do this, right? Because we get guilt, we get shame. We say, "Oh, I didn't live up to my expectations. I didn't live up to my, the way that my values, the things that I said I was going to do. I messed up." And the worst thing that you can do is isolate yourself. And that's a natural tendency that some of us, that's a natural tendency that I have. That's one of the reasons that I got stuck in depression and anxiety for many, many years is that I would tend to isolate myself rather than connect myself. And this isn't an introvert extrovert thing, right? It's about a connectedness. Even people who are introverted need to be connected to other people. And so if you want to stay committed to your goals, find meaningful connections to other people. Emily, where is that book? That's a good question. It's on my it's right now it's on my hard drive right now. Or it's actually in Google Docs right now is where it is. I am 2 chapters from having fully edited it, at least to the ability that I can do. And then I'm going to see about maybe turning it over to some other people. Merrick, hello. Welcome in. It's okay to fail. We all fail. Talk about your failures. Our failures shape us. I love that. I love that. I think that not only do our failures shape us, but our failures are our most important learning opportunities, right? Can think back I have a lot of successes in my life. I've succeeded at a lot of things. I was very, very successful in sales for a long time. I was actually very successful in my banking career. Wherever I went in whatever industry, my customer service scores, my customer satisfaction scores were always the top of every chain that I was in, right? That was consistent for me as I provided an outstanding customer experience. So I've had a lot of successes in my life, but I learned so much more from the failures. I learned so much more from the things that where it didn't go right. And so I love that you bring that up, Merrick, because I think that's so important is that we stay tied into it. In the book, Be Great, the opening chapter and really the framework for the book is about the three things that we believe that keep our lives small. They keep us in a little box, in a little bubble. And the second thing of those things is we believe that failure is the end. We believe that failure is fatal, that it's final, right? And it's not until we realize that failure is not only final, it's not only not final, it's not only not fatal, but it's actually a part of success. It's not until we realize that we start to move on. So creating accountability, having somebody else that that you can be accountable to, that's an important part of strengthening your commitment. And then the last thing that I would talk about here is tracking your progress. And there's a lot of great stuff out there. James Clear in Atomic Habits, a great book, a great read for as a New Year read. If you want to get started on the right foot, I would definitely recommend Atomic Habits by James Clear. But um, one of the things that he talks about in that book is tracking your progress, right? And he says it's not just about tracking your progress. It's not just about checking things off on a checklist. Although for some of you, I know that's meaningful, right? Some people find great meaning in being able to check things off of a checklist, but it's not just about that. It is about number one, monitoring your consistency and being able to be honest with yourself about the level of consistency that you're bringing to the table. But it's also about being able to celebrate your wins because, as James Clear says, when you decide the type of person that you want to be, and this is about identity, that's the I in the idea framework, by the way. When you decide who you want to be, then everything that you do that pushes you in that direction is a vote. It's you casting a vote for you believing that you're that kind of person. So I'm a huge believer of trackers. I have, of course, my little remarkable notebook that I carry around with me, and I set trackers up for things, for all kinds of things. I've got, of course, my idea planner that I use, and you can get a free copy of this as well. This is the 7 daily commitments that I make every day. You can get a free copy of this at ideatrainingacademy.com as well by giving me your email address. But I'll set up, let's see, I'll set up just all kinds of trackers for things like, hey, I'm going to track this for 30. Like this is a tracker that I'm using for the month of July, right? And I'm just going to check off how many times I do that thing right over the course of 31 days. So I'm a big believer in that because it's important for you. Listen, what you say to yourself, you are going to believe at some point. The things that you say internally are eventually going to be the things that you believe about yourself. So if you're telling yourself right now, I can't do it, I can't use all these examples, this is not applicable to my life, um, I'm never going to change, I'm always going to be this way. If you're telling yourself that thing actively, then you're going to believe that. So the first thing you need to change is the way that you talk to yourself. And that's got to be around, hey, I'm a person who does things to make themselves healthier, right? I'm a person who focuses on people instead of outcomes, right? I'm a person who loves people when they're hard to love, right? Those are things, those are identity statements. And if you say those to yourselves, eventually you will come to believe them if your actions line up, right? And how do you know if your actions are lining up? Well, tracking them is a good way to do it. So, what's the question that I wrote down here is what's one thing you could do this week to strengthen your commitment to a goal? It it really pre-decide a response. So, when I come up against friction or gravity, right? Those things that slow us down, that inertia that wants to slow us down. When I come up against that opposition, how am I going to respond? What's my response going to be? And then create accountability, right? Who am I going to tell about this thing? How am I going to tell them? Maybe it's making a post on a forum, right? Maybe it's going to our Discord and making a post there. Maybe it's joining the 30-day New Year challenge and jumping in with that group of people. And in that challenge, just so you know, the way that's structured is you get 30. You're going to get 30 emails plus a few, right? You're going to get an email from me every single day. Tal, don't worry about it. Welcome in. It's good to see you. So what's going to happen is when you sign up for that challenge, and again, it closes tomorrow, you're going to get an email from me every day. And that email is going to give you a prompt. And those prompts are I've designed them as a system to help you build a system of habits to make one change in your life over the next 30 days. So maybe your accountability is in every one of those, I include a little extra credit section. And that extra credit is you get extra credit, which, is just for fun, but you get extra credit if you respond back to me with, and I'll ask a question, right? Or give you a prompt. So maybe that's your form of accountability, but create accountability for yourself, and or maybe your one thing you're going to do is you're going to start tracking your progress. So just choose one of those things, either pre-deciding a response, creating accountability, or starting to track progress. And then again, if you're watching this after the fact, you're watching this live, just toss that in the comments. Let me know what's the one thing you're going to do. What's the one step you're going to take this week to strengthen your commitment to a goal. So, so listen, these three things, right? Clarity, explicitness, and commitment. Those three things are the things that if you lose them, you can get too much of a good thing with your intentions. Have to dip and run. Have a great stream. Happy New Year. Keep it up, mate. Thanks, Merrick. It's so good to see you guys. That's one Merrick, another amazing streamer. Go follow him. Sorry, like a lot of my stuff doesn't really function on this stream, Merrick, so I can't give you a proper shout out. But do go check that guy out. He's an amazing. He's a great friend. He's been a streaming friend of mine for many years now. At this point, for almost 3 years, and just love him to death. He's a great guy. So thanks, friend. Take care of yourself. Extra credit isn't for fun, it's to torture tease. That's also true. I'm going to take steps to be a better wife. Not that I'm a bad one, but I can do better at being more patient. I love that, Emily. I love that. I love that you can recognize, hey, and style. We were talking about this a little bit earlier too. Is it's not that I'm bad at things. It's that I want to be better. In some cases, I want to be the best. I mean, why wouldn't you want to be the best? Why wouldn't you want to be the best at anything you do? Why wouldn't I want to be the best husband that I possibly can be, right? Why wouldn't I want to be the best dad that I can be? Yeah, maybe I don't want to be the best at everything. I don't know that I want to be the best streamer that's out there. I would like to be a streamer who is useful, who is helpful, who is entertaining to people. But maybe I'm not going to be the best, right? I don't have the best equipment or the best. Maybe those are not my focuses, but I'd like to be better this year than I was last year. I think that's so valuable. What a great commitment, Tal. I've been thinking about changing up my products this year. That's amazing, Tal. So I would go back and watch this episode from the beginning, right? Because what we're talking about today is how to take a goal and then set a really strong intention so you don't get too much of a good thing. Because if you have a goal, then you can really burn yourself out, right? You could really go all into it. But it's really important to know why, right? Why you have that goal. What it is that you want, what it is you really want to do and why you want to do it. So it's so good. I love that. I love it too. Just making an effort to try and be better is the best thing. That's true. That's true. Improvement of yourself is there's never anything wrong with improving yourself. Listen, I don't know. I can't tell you of anybody who's ever set out to improve themselves and has come to ruin because of that attempt, right? I think sometimes we do lose our intentions and things can go south because of that. Um, but yeah, we don't destroy ourselves by trying to be better. Okay, so maybe I could work on being calmer. And that seems to be a best of both worlds. I mean, I like that, right? Style. If that's something that, you know, if that's something that's going to be meaningful, if it's going to make your life better in the way that you want your life to be better, or more importantly, right, just for me, right, if it's going to make your life more effective, if it's going to make you better at the things that are important, then what a great thing, right? What a great thing to look at. I love that. I absolutely love it. I'll be watching this after the fact. Darn ads. I'm sorry, Tal. That's a great and daunting goal. That is. I love calm people. Calm people are great. I wish I was one of them. I'm not. Uh, I have to work really hard to master myself. That's a whole other episode though. So let's recap real fast because I know we're out of time. So again, the three things that I want to challenge you to focus on around your intentions are clarity, know what good looks like, do the 5 whys, get to the core of your intention, explicitness, make sure you're saying it out loud, and make sure that it's not just a goal, but it's actions that are tied to the goal, and that those actions are tied to your values. And then commitment, align your actions and stay consistent, right? Create accountability, pre-decide, what your response to opposition is going to be, right? Track your progress, those kinds of things. So this week, listen, I just want you to pick one thing that you've been struggling with. This is your takeaway from today. I would love to have you pick one thing that you've been struggling with and then just apply these 3 principles to it and just see what happens. And let me know. Let me know down in the comments. Let me know how it's going. I what is this? Brickman. 100% not a calm person. The key to 2025 success with autism is try finding a way to be more positive and productive and making yourself feel better about the next day. I love that. I think that's good. A bowl full of anxiety, right? I'm calm mostly till I get bad news. Yeah. And that's, you know what? We'll talk about that in the future as well. We'll talk about self-mastery and how some of the things that we can do to focus on maintaining a center around the things that are important when things don't go the way that we want them to do. So share your progress with me, guys, whether it's in the comments or a message or a DM on Discord or whatever else. I want to hear how you're doing, right? Because I want to be there to support you. Sign up for the 30-day challenge. It's free. It's fun. It's at ideatraining.academy.com. There's just a button you can click. I will let you know when you click the button, it's going to take you to my site where you can buy stuff, right? This is free, but you still have to check out. So you have to check out for free. It's not going to charge you anything. But if you don't check out, it won't send me all of the registration information. So I'm going to have to figure out a better way to do it in the future. But that's the way we are for today. This is my first 30-day challenge. So we'll continue to refine this. But listen, guys, I just want to thank you for showing up today. Thank you, Tal. I want to thank you for showing up today. I know that this is a weird stream, right? I know that a lot of you come to Twitch, some of you are on YouTube. Maybe it's a little more normal on YouTube, but I know that it's kind of a weird stream for Twitch. I know that if you see some of my gaming content, that this feels a little weird. Maybe it feels a little heavy or a little too serious or some of those things. And I always have people come in here and they're like, well, this is not what I signed up for. Like, I'm not interested in this. And that's all totally fine. Again, it really is all about, it's all about you, right? It's all about you. I want to speak so much love and so much positivity and so much confidence into your life. Listen, like, I know you've had people in your life who have spoken a lot of negativity into your life. You've had people who have put you down. You've had people who told you all the things that you can't do. Maybe you just haven't had people who have ever told you that you can do greater things. Like, I know what all of those things are like. And because of that, I want to be the person who will always tell you, yes, you can do it. You can do it. I believe in you, and there's so much love in my heart for all of you guys. This matters, right? Everything that you do matters. Let me catch up with chat before I sign off. Things I've been struggling with is anxiety and depression. The way I've been dealing with is by taking a break from Twitch, Discord, and all social media. I mean, you got to do the things that are right for you, Brickman. The thing that I would challenge you is make sure you stay connected, right? Make sure you stay connected to people because we don't want to isolate. Isolation can always cause us a problem. Have you changed the time slot for the Idea Academy streams? Going forward, Tal, I'm going to try and keep it 12:30 Pacific time. I'm going to try and keep this time slot as best I can. This works really well in mine. In my time frame, and the replays will always be available for you on YouTube. If you go to youtube.com/@AndrewBurkham, my name, then you will always find those there. That's all tagged on Idea Academy, ideatrainingacademy.com, which thank you, Emily, for pinning that. I appreciate that on the Twitch comments. Great last year day. I got to go finish a mosaic, then commission. All right. Take care of yourself, Brickman. Take care of yourself. All right, guys. So all that to say, thank you for showing up. Thank you for your commitment to growth. Thank you for thank you for putting the important things first, right? And doing the things that are going to make the world a better place. Not everybody gets up in the morning and can commit to doing that. Maybe you're not there yet, but I believe that you have that moment of greatness that's waiting for you, and it's waiting for you in 2025, right? That moment of greatness is out there for you right now, but it's not coming for you. You can't just sit back and wait for it. You got to take steps. You got to be accountable. You got to get your identity fixed. You got to do those things. You got to pursue that moment. So go do it, guys. Listen, go be great. I'll see you guys next time.